and it's now time for the Virginia Eats and Drinks Show, live right here at AM 790 WNIS.
Give me that wine. Give me that wine. Give me that wine. I just can't cut loose without my juice. Oh.
I can definitely relate to that. You know, how about you?
I could see it times, you know?
Yeah, most of the time, actually. Well, good afternoon and welcome to another slice of the Virginia Eats and Drinks Show. Our opening music tonight is Gimme That Wine by Blood, Sweat, and Tears. It's in honor of Virginia wine. We'll be talking about Virginia wine during the whole hour of the show, including the recent Governor's Cup. I'm your host, Patrick Evans-Hylton, and I invite you to grab a napkin and settle in for the next hour for an all-you-can-hear succulent smorgasbord of things to eat and drink, events to attend, and more. This is food news that you can use, and only on the Virginia Eats and Drinks Show, Friday evenings from 6 until 7 on AM 790 WNIS. And sign up for our Facebook group to get behind-the-scenes photos, reads, recipes, resources, and more at facebook.com/group/Virginia Eats and Drinks. A very special thank you to our platinum sponsors, including, founded in 1975, Emerson Cigars has locations across coastal Virginia and offers a wide assortment of cigars and accessories. Visit emersоncigars.com. Globally inspired, high-quality ingredients, a World of Good cafe in Norfolk's Ocean View is chef-driven street cuisine at its best. Come enjoy handcrafted street cuisine prepared by five-star chef Greg Barnhill, all without having to have your passport stamped. Visit aworldofgoodva.com. Norfolk Festevents is dedicated to producing celebrations, including concerts, festivals, tall ship and international ship visits, signature special events, the stay-at-home series of events, and more. Visit festevents.org. And cheers to our friends at the Virginia Wine of the Month Club. We look forward to our monthly shipment of quality Virginia wines from the Virginia Wine of the Month Club, and you will too. Tonight, Damien and I are enjoying Villa Appalaccia Lyrico 2019. This white table wine with Vidal Blanc grapes is a cool fermentation of select white grapes in stainless steel tanks. The wine retains crispness and characteristic fruit properties of the grape variety. This wine is an excellent grape glass on its own, and also goes well with seafood, cheese dishes, and white sauce pasta. A recent selection from the Virginia Wine of the Month Club. Stay tuned for our sip-by-sip thoughts. For more information, visit vawineclub.com. And so, Damien, how's things going?
Doing well.
Yeah. What about that weather today?
Man.
80-something degrees, sunny?
Crazy and windy. The wind picked up.
It was
for
windy,
a while.
though. Yeah, it was very windy.
It was like a convection oven there for a little bit. Not nearly as bad, but we had a good day. It was kind of eventful out on the farm. We had a little pack of goats get born
my
today.
goodness, I'm looking at the video there. Oh, how adorable.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a trifecta. There were 3 little baby boys, boys all, born all healthy. So it was
now,
fun.
do you name your animals?
Yeah, we probably won't be keeping these guys.
Okay.
You can only have so many male goats. But depending on, what other people want them to name them, or we'll name them in the interim. But yeah, they got to have a name,
Well, I don't know. I've heard, sometimes, people that have animals on a farm, they don't always name their animals.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we didn't name the ones we were eating.
Okay.
We're not eating the goats, but when we were doing chickens, I guess some of them did get names. I tell you that. Some of them did get names. The ones that still got eaten, and they tasted just as good.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Well, okay. Well, so what do you think of this wine?
It's very good.
Isn't this nice? I love Vidal Blanc anyway, and this is such a beautiful expression of it. It's so crisp and light. This is a perfect spring wine, isn't it? Well, especially a warm day like today, but, Easter's coming up next Sunday, and this would be really, really great for, for Easter brunch or something like that, too.
I could even see that on an Easter ham and whatnot. That'd be kind of delightful.
Yeah, it really would, but, it was saying, like a pasta with white sauces. Think about, this has just enough acidity. I think it could cut through really nice with a something with an Alfredo sauce or something.
Sure.
But, this whole show's dedicated to Virginia wine.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
I am too. So why don't we get started?
Let's do it.
All right. Napa, Sonoma, Willamette, Virginia. For decades, Virginia has been a growing name in world-class wine. Some 4,000 acres of grapes are planted here across 10 growing regions and 8 distinctive AVAs. Scores of wineries receive accolades and win awards for their vintages, further strengthening the legacy, as in the Governor's Cup announced earlier early each spring. And we're happy to have on the phone with us my friend Annette Boyd of the Virginia Wine Marketing Office to tell us more about Virginia wine and the Governor's Cup, which recently announced their selections. And Annette, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, Patrick.
Absolutely, absolutely. So first, why don't you tell everybody what the Virginia Wine Marketing Office does?
So the Virginia Wine Board Marketing Office, we are the marketing arm of the governor-appointed Virginia Wine Board. The excise taxes that Virginia wineries pay to the state come back to them through the Virginia Wine Board, and they use those funds for research, education, and promotion. And we are really the promotional arm of that.
Okay, cool. And so what are some of the things that you do? I know you always have the great map that comes out and everything. And
we do. So we print the Virginia Winery Guide with the big map with all the Virginia wineries on it. We run the virginiawine.org website, and then a lot of other general marketing opportunities for Virginia wineries. This year, we are marketing the results of the Governor's Cup competition, which is our state competition that, evaluates Virginia wines. We've done a lot of advertising. When all the wineries were shut down last spring, we did an advertising campaign so consumers would know who was doing curbside pickup, delivery, and shipping, and made sure that people knew support their local wineries when they were shut down.
That's cool. I love that map. I remember when I moved here and I first saw the map, and I think that there were, so this is 30 years ago. I think that there were like 20-something wineries, on it, and, sitting down and plotting, and there's now, 312 or something?
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, so let me ask, why is it important to have a competition like the Virginia Governor's Cup?
So the Virginia Governor's Cup competition, it's run by Jay Yeomans of the Capital Wine School in Washington, D.C., who is a master of wine. And he brings in a lot of judges to judge this year there were 544 entries into it, a couple of criteria. But number one is it has to be 100% Virginia fruit.
Yes.
And they actually audit that to make sure, like if you say you bought so much fruit from a vineyard, they actually audit those.
Wow.
Those results. So this really is a good test of, it's a snapshot. Competitions, the results can change, and it's just a snapshot of what's happening in Virginia in any given year. And we love it. 1 year Tannat's won, and everybody was talking about Tannat in Virginia. And 1 year there were 2 Petit Mansings in the case, and everyone was talking about, how Petit Mansing was coming along. So every year it ends up being just a snapshot of what's happening in the industry.
Yes, indeed. Well, so, and speaking of that, this year it did seem like there was a pretty wide assortment of wineries and wine varietals and even the cider category. So kind of going back to your other point, how does that reflect what's happening with wine in Virginia out of the judging room and into the tasting rooms?
Well, one of the things that I think makes Virginia so fascinating is it's a big state. There's a lot of microclimates in the state. And because of that, more experimentation is going on in Virginia than perhaps any other wine region that you can think of.
Absolutely.
In this year's case, we had Nebbiolo. We had dessert wines that used Vidal. We had, of course, Meritage blends that are a blend of some variation of the Bordeaux grapes, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cab Franc, Petit Verdot. Vermentino, there was a Vermentino in the case from Barbersville.
Yes.
Beautiful Italian white wine. And, Virginia wine, but with an Italian grape. And there was a Petit Mansing in the case as well.
Yeah, which is just outstanding. And such a nice variety. And like you said, the experimentation going on is just wonderful. And I think it really does show that geographic variety that you get here in Virginia, too, and the different AVAs and everything that we have.
Totally agree. And it's fun to see the industry evolve and really embrace. I think some industries, take Oregon and Pinot Noir, or New York and Riesling, New Zealand and Sauvignon Blanc. They've really marketed one grape. And then, 3 or 5 years into that, they're like, hey, look at us. We grow other stuff too.
Yeah. But by then it's so ingrained in people,
Correct. And so luckily, I think we really sat down and said, oh my gosh, first of all, we couldn't pick one grape for the state. There's so much experimentation going on here, and there's so much excitement. The microclimates are so varied that we're seeing a lot of successes in, Christine Foreman and how beautiful her Pinot Noir is. And that's not something, not everyone in the state has the climate to grow Pinot Noir, but hers is just beautiful. And so we really embrace the experimentation that's happening in Virginia.
Yes, I totally agree. Well, so tell me, Annette, one or two things about Virginia wine or Virginia wineries that folks may find surprising.
So, well, here's one. And I think probably people that have been following the industry for some time, this may not be a surprise. But I think for people who have not, I think this always surprises them. And that is, if you look at Virginia on a map, we are both literally halfway between, say, California, Oregon, and Washington, and Europe. And we're also stylistically, if you look at the types of wines that we grow and the flavors, our wines tend to be more old world style. They have higher acidity, not quite as lush in their fruit styles as, say, our West Coast cousins. If you have people who love Spanish, Italian, French, German wines, they're going to find a wine here that they love.
Absolutely. Well, one last thing, what do you see ahead in 2021 for Virginia wine?
Well, I think as more people get vaccinated, and they're really going to be looking to get out of their house.
Oh, yeah.
I know I am.
Oh, yes.
I am so ready to get out of my house.
Yes.
And I think you're going to see a lot of people I don't think people are ready to jump on a plane yet and go for far distances. So I think that a lot of local travel is going to be extremely popular this year. Mm-hmm. And Virginia wine country is a perfect option for that. It's a great for weekend getaway. It's stunningly beautiful. The wines are incredible. And it's still close enough to home as you're getting used to getting out again.
And what's so nice is that, yes, there's the concentration of wineries up in Northern Virginia, Loudoun County and all, and then around Charlottesville. But the state is so diverse that, you could have a wonderful weekend on the Eastern Shore at so many cute little places and eating oysters. And then there's Chatham. But then, there's so many just wonderful wineries tucked here and there, too, that pretty much no matter where you go, you're going to find a charming winery along the way.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, for more information on Virginia wine, visit virginiawine.org. That's virginiawine.org. And Annette, I always love catching up with you and chatting with you. I hope that you have a wonderful wine-filled weekend.
Patrick, thank you so much.
You take care.
You too.
Bye-bye. For more than 30 years, the Virginia Wine Club has connected wine lovers across the Commonwealth and the United States to some of the great wines of Virginia. A tasting panel of experts navigates the many offerings and comes up with options for folks who are just getting into wine or for those who are true connoisseurs. In this broadcast of Virginia Eats and Drinks show, we're talking about the Virginia wine and the outstanding wineries who took the highest of honors, those given in the Virginia Cup. And I wanted to have my friend Stewart Reynolds on the show to talk a little more about the Virginia Wine Club and also the state of wine in Virginia in 2021. And Stewart, how's it going?
Oh, it's going really well, actually, Patrick. You caught me on a day where I was lucky enough to visit a Virginia winery today. I was out at Veritas, and I spent a good amount of time with Emily, their head winemaker.
Yes, I love Veritas. That's so awesome. Very nice. Well, let's give folks an idea, just kind of a broad general overview, a little bit about the Virginia Wine Club.
Yeah, so what we've been doing for over 30 years is providing, great, high-quality, award-winning wines shipped directly to your door. As you can imagine, not all businesses suffered through COVID. The online wine and shipping business has obviously spiked a little bit during this time, where people love to have wine delivered to them in a completely safe methodology and be able to experience the wineries without having to travel to them and being, out and exposed.
Yes, excellent. Now, a lot of folks, they, like you today, they love to get out, they love to visit wineries, but there's still advantages to belonging to the club, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So some of the great things about Virginia Wine a Month Club is that, we don't repeat the same winery or the same vintage. You're always getting something, new and exciting from could be anywhere in the state. And I always liken to say, thinking about a lot of the corners of the state, in the last couple of years, you could have gotten something from Chatham Vineyards all the way out on the eastern shore to Tarara, pretty much the northernmost point in the state. So even Mountain Rose in southwest Virginia in Wise County, and Rosemont, who's down in South Central, and then everything in between. So it's a great opportunity to try wine. People located in Northern Virginia wouldn't get an opportunity to try, and then vice versa in other parts of the state.
Exactly. Well, now what are some of the benefits? I mean, obviously getting the wine, but there's a lot of benefits to the wine club. Tell us about those.
Absolutely. So, well, number one's receiving it, the journal and information that comes with it, tasting notes about the wine, recipes about the wine. One of the things that we changed about our journal, I guess about 2 years ago, was really kind of making it about the adventure to the winery. So where to stay, where to eat, usually a featured event for the wineries that they may be having. In this COVID time, sometimes that's not an option. So, we like to also have a featured adventure like, maybe a Virginia State Park or something interesting that you could do outside with family and friends. And, the other large benefit of the club is our once a quarter, wine, we call our wine blowout, where our members exclusively get the opportunity to buy Virginia wines at 50% off. And our members like getting Virginia wines for $10, $11 a pop. So it's a great opportunity to stock up.
And we touched on it a little bit in the intro, but tell us how wines are picked so that folks get that good representation of all the great vintages that are out there.
Yeah, so we have an expert tasting panel headed by Neil Williamson, who been around in the wine industry for quite some time. Used to manage Prince Michelle Vineyard, has several degrees, in oncology. I mean, in wine, and we really not only pick wines that we like, but also the things, flavor profiles that we feel will be a great fit for the members. A lot of wines this year. We've had some very interesting things that we haven't had before. As far as, types of varietals, some German varietals like a Gewürztraminer on the white side. Refresco, which I had never tried in the state of Virginia, was one of the varietals that we had within the club. And so you get an expert panel to taste, rate, and grade the wines. So you always know you're getting something with high quality.
Excellent. Very, very nice. Now, are folks able to customize their liking? So, like, say, somebody just really doesn't like red wine, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way we're designed is that we feature reds and whites and sweet wines. And on our website, you can decide how many bottles you would like of each. We feature 2 different reds each month and 2 different whites each month in our monthly club. And then in our Cellar Reserve Club, which is our once a quarter higher end club, we're currently doing 3 red, except for in December we do a sparkling. And those are gold medal winners from the Governor's Cup, which recently occurred. We pick wines from the San Francisco wine competition, and then really look for wines that are out there that, they're smaller wineries. They may not have enough production to enter these large competitions, but we find those diamonds in the rough, as I would say.
Yeah, excellent. Well, now, what were some of your favorites from the Governor's Cup this year? Did you have any you were cheering on, or any that you saw that won? You thought, yeah, that's great, or?
Well, this was a different year, obviously. I think all your viewers can appreciate that. One of the things that was different about this year that was frankly broke my heart was the fact that we didn't have the normal Governor's Cup celebration, which they've put in the beautiful train station they redid downtown in Richmond. And at that event, you get to try every gold medal wine that won a gold in the Governor's Cup. And not having that event, I didn't get to try as many of the Governor Cup golds as I would like. But I will speak to one directly today, one that we're going to feature. And so this is a little bit of an exclusive. Matter of fact, you're the first people to know. And one is the 2017 Petit Verdot from Veritas. And, we love that wine. We actually had pre-selected it, but then it made it the Governor's Cup case as the top 12 wines in Virginia. Not surprising to me. Emily out there, the winemaker, is really one of the most strongest advocates for Virginia wine and a champion of women, in wine, which is, kind of our theme this month with all our clubs.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, so now what do you think 2021 holds for Virginia wine?
Well, I think that it's going to be an interesting year because the dynamics of how people visit and enjoy wine are going to remain the same for probably most of this year.
Yes.
As far as the growth, and we're off to a good start as far as the grapes. The key now is really not to have a late frost. As long as we don't get a late frost, we're in good shape. We need to get a little more rain. Got some last night in my region, but I think we're off to a really good start.
Yeah, I think so too. That's awesome. Well, for folks, for more information on the Virginia Wine Club, visit vawineclub.com. That is vawineclub.com. Stewart, it's always a delight to chat with you. It's always a delight to get our monthly shipment. Damien and I, we always love digging in. Folks, listen to us as we do a sip-by-sip analysis on live on the air and rebroadcast that across our social media. So it's something that I highly, highly endorse and recommend, and something that, it's almost like Christmas every month just to know that box is coming. So it's really beneficial. vawineclub.com. And Stewart, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great wine-filled weekend.
Yeah, same to you. And Patrick, look for it. The wines are on their way.
That's awesome.
And I know that you'll enjoy them. This month is a fabulous package.
That's awesome.
Fabulous stuff.
Very cool.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye. And speak of the devil, that's what we're drinking. Because I got that big old box this week.
Nice. Nice.
I haven't gone through everything in it, but I picked this one out because I thought it just looked so nice, and it would be so good for springtime, too.
Absolutely. And the weather we've had, well
yes,
done. Good
yes.
choice.
And I really love Villa Appalachia. I've actually been there. They're actually on the Blue Ridge Parkway. They're not just off of the Blue Ridge Parkway. They are on the Blue Ridge Parkway. They're high up, great, amazing views. They have an Italian heritage. They actually grow, I don't know if they're still doing it because it's been a while since I visited, but they actually were growing olive trees there. Very limited, as you can imagine, because of the climate, but they were actually making some very small, limited olive oil, but very charming people. They're pretty far south, almost into North Carolina on the Blue Ridge Parkway. But I really love this. I'm thinking forward to next week for Easter, how nice this would be at a brunch with a nice quiche. Maybe like a ham and cheese quiche or something, or some kind of omelets. But just, today it would just been amazing just to sit out and just drink this just like it was with, maybe some a nice little fruit and cheese tray or something too.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if somebody is trying to maybe get into wines, what would you suggest them do? Try to get a bottle from a local place or join a club?
Well, I probably, if you were just really starting out, I probably would join a club and join at a very small introductory level, because honestly, it's one of those things where you have to drink to know more. And the other thing is to take a lot of notes. A lot of notes, and realize that you've got to compare and contrast, and that you take notes, for yourself. You're not taking notes to impress anybody else. You don't say like, oh, I taste, notes of eucalyptus and leather sofa. And it's like, what the crap is that?
I can smell the oleander.
Yes. Well, why don't you? Never mind. But yeah. Anyway, oh boy, FCC almost got involved there. But don't be pretentious, at all. And if folks want to send me an email, and I'll put this on our Facebook group, my email address, but it's Patrick Evans-Hylton at gmail.com, and Evans is E-V-A-N-S, Hilton is H-Y-L-T-O-N. I'll send you a simplified tasting sheet that I have, and, you just start taking some notes, and you keep your notes, and you try to expand your horizons. Don't say I don't drink red wine, because you never had all the red wine that there is. You might not like Cabernet Sauvignon, but you might like a Sangiovese, you might like a Chianti, you might like a Pinot Noir. You might like a number of things. Don't say you don't like sweet wines, because there may be something that's got a hint of sweetness to it that you like. There's just so much to explore and enjoy.
Last quick question before we go to this Fox News break: does the price on the bottle dictate if it's going to be good or not?
Absolutely not, because I've had some really expensive wines that have just been dogs, just total dogs, and then you're like, well, what the hell did I just spend that money on? but there's some good values too. So no, I mean, sometimes, yeah, if you see something that's priced, for $1.99, you might think, yeah, but
discounted on the clearance aisle, stay away.
Yeah, if it's a blue light special, yeah, that's it. But folks, we're going to take a break and we're going to pour ourselves another glass of wine. We'll see you soon.
Give me that wine. Give me that wine. Give me that wine.
All right, and welcome back to the Virginia Eats and Drinks Show. Maybe somebody ought to give us a second bottle of wine because that one went awfully fast.
It does.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad we had the Virginia Wine of the Month Club to take care of that. But we're going to talk more wine now with our friend Frank Morgan. In tonight's Virginia Eats and Drinks, we're talking about Virginia wine. It's a great time to do it with the recent Virginia Governor Cup, one of the most stringent competitions in the United States. Hosted by the Virginia Wineries Association in partnership with the Virginia Wine Board and the Virginia Vineyards Association, the Virginia Governor's Cup this year featured 16 judges sampling 544 Virginia wines. I do that every morning. From more than 100 Virginia wineries. For those, the highest 12 ranking red and white wines become part of the Governor's Case Cup, with one bottle taking home the coveted Governor's Cup. You all know my first guest, Frank Morgan of the blog Drink What You Like. Frank joins us here on the Virginia Eats and Drinks Show from time to time to let us know what's in his glass and gives recommendation on what should be in ours as well. Frank was one of those judges in the Governor's Cup this year and is going to let us in a little bit about the competition and the state of Virginia wine in 2021. And cheers, Frank. How are you?
Cheers to you, Patrick. I am well. I hope you are too.
I am. I'm drinking a glass of sparkling as we speak. Well, so Frank, tell us a little bit about you and about your blog, Drink What You Like.
So I started drinkwhatyouLike.com about 12 years ago, just as a way to chronicle my wine travels. At the time when I first found wine 15 years ago, I was working on a project in the Bay Area of California, and making that commute back and forth to here to Tidewater to, San Jose area was very tiresome. And so a colleague said, hey, instead of flying all the way back to Virginia, you should join us and go to this place called Sonoma, California. So I said, oh, gosh, that sounds great. I went up there, and the very first winery I ever visited was Gunlock Bunchu. And, for every other weekend for the next 6 or 7 months, I spent, just driving around, roaming around the wine routes of Sonoma and Napa, California, and really just fell in love with wine. I started taking a lot of classes through the Society of Wine Educators, going to dinners and tastings whenever I could. Just started visiting wineries in Virginia. I think the first one I ever visited was Chatham, who you're well aware of.
Oh, yeah.
On the Eastern Shore. And that's how it started. And a colleague suggested that I started writing an email newsletter to just friends saying, hey, I just got back from this region. Here are 3 restaurants that I really loved. Here's a winery that I loved. Here's some wine. And that, email newsletter just grew and grew and grew. And somebody suggested that I start a blog where I don't have to send out all these emails. So, I did that and started drinkwhatyouLike.com. I don't know if it's a good name, bad name, but that was kind of my philosophy, just trying to learn, saying, okay, I'm going to drink everything, just drink what I like and keep learning. And so that, just that blog led to other print writing, which, I do today it's a labor of love, writing. And I cover the Virginia wine industry considerably because that's where I live. I just have the deepest respect for the farmers of Virginia, those women and men who, are out there, working, at the mercy of Mother Nature. Growing grapes in Virginia is extremely difficult. It takes a lot of time and work and effort, and you are, as I said, at the mercy of the weather. And so I try to, cover this industry because it is hugely underrated as a wine growing region. Although now, most major publications are giving Virginia some recognition through their coverage because the wines have grown considerably in quality, just even in the last 10 years, as you well know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so that first winery you went to, Chatham, what year was that? Do you remember?
Oh, gosh. I want to think it was probably 2007-ish, 2008, somewhere around there. I just loved going there and meeting John and Nils and, getting their still Chardonnay and taking it to, beach house and just sitting on the dock and drinking that wine and eating local shellfish. So it was a while ago. And then, I started visiting wineries in and around Charlottesville. I loved, and I still do, love the experience of visiting a winery and sitting on the grounds. And, there's so much history in the Charlottesville area, and just, tasting the work of Virginia's farmers.
Exactly. Well, so, thinking back that 10, 11, 12, 13 years when you first, started exploring Virginia wines and wineries, how have things progressed with Virginia wine and the Virginia wine industry from your observation?
Considerably. So the industry has grown not only in the number of wineries. So, 10 or 12 years ago, there were roughly 140, 150 wineries, let's say, roughly. Today, there are about 312 wineries. These are operations that have farm winery licenses that, not necessarily have a tasting room, or maybe they have a vineyard and a makeshift tasting room. But there are 312 wineries in Virginia, spread across the state, from the sandy loam soils there on the eastern shore up to the rolling hills, the clay rolling hills on the foothills of the Blue Ridge, to the Shenandoah Valley west, out towards West Virginia and Tennessee, that area, and also up through Fauquier County and Loudoun County, just outside of D.C. So the industry has not only grown in size, just the pure number of wineries, but it's also grown in importance. Today, farming and Virginia wine is responsible for over 7,000 jobs, according to the last report released by state government. But also, most importantly, Patrick, the quality of Virginia wine has improved exponentially, even in such a short period of time, a 12-year period of time. And that is, farmers, grape growers have gotten a lot smarter on what grape varieties to plant in their particular sites. There was a time just a couple of decades ago where people, let's say they had a family farm, or they just bought a plot of land and said, I'm going to plant some grapes here. They really didn't know what to plant, so they would plant multiple varieties, experiment, say, gosh, Merlot is really doing well here because this is a well-draining soil, or Cabernet Franc is doing well here, or maybe Petit Manseng. So the industry has gotten a lot smarter about selecting the right site for the right grape. And a lot of that comes from the early Virginia wine pioneers like Dennis Horton, the late founder of Horton Vineyards, who sadly passed away in 2018. That is from Gabriele Roussi, who came to Virginia in 1976 to help found Barbersville Winery, and then he went on to help establish a dozen other prominent vineyards in the region. Lucy Morton, who is a very well-known, globally well-known ampelographer and viticulturist who lives in Charlottesville, she planted her first vineyard in 1973.
Oh, yeah.
And so she has a lot of domain expertise. So the quality of Virginia wine has grown exponentially. And I will tell you, if listeners, if they haven't tried Virginia wine recently, venture out and try some of the better ones, because you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Now, tell me, Frank, how does your observations then over the years, how does that jibe with what you've experienced as a judge with the Governor's Cup and what you're seeing as far as the winners and all go?
So that's a good question. Now, that's
why I get paid the big bucks.
Right. Well, okay. See, there you go. One day I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
But,
it's lonely. It's lonely at the top, Frank. Yeah.
It's lonely at the top. Well, that's why I say. You know what, Patrick? That's why I stay in the middle, because I don't want to be lonely. And see, that right there is the reason why. But seriously, how the competition, or how the wines have changed in the time that I've been judging the Governor's Cup. So the Governor's Cup started. The very first Virginia Governor's Cup wine competition was in was it 1982?
Yeah.
Okay, so 19. That's 30 was. This is the 39th competition, I think. But 10 years ago was the very first year of the revised format, the revised competition, under the leadership of Jay Yeoman. So Jay Yeoman is not only is he a master of wine, and I think in the United States, I think there's only 56 or 57 individuals who have achieved the title, the rigorous, went through the rigorous study and passed the test to become a master of wine. but he owns the Capital Wine School in the D.C. area. And so he took over the competition, completely revamped it, made it much more rigorous, 100% Virginia fruit, created the governor's case. He brought a lot of rigor to the competition and helped raise the stature of the competition from just kind of a small state-run competition to one that's taken very serious in the wine world. And the very first competition under Jay's leadership was 2012. I judged that year in the preliminary round. So there's two rounds. There's a preliminary round where they split us up, and over the course of, I think it's 6 or 7 weeks, we all taste a couple hundred wines over the course of that period, pare it down to the top 120 average scored wines. Those go to the final round, and in the final round, 12 judges rejudge and retaste and rescore all of those wines. So, going back 10 years ago when I first judged in the preliminary rounds to this year where I judged the final round, the quality has grown. But I will tell you, there are some great varieties that have risen, to the top. One is Petit Manseng. That is
that's one of my favorites. Yes.
Yep, Petit Manseng. The origins of it are in the Jurançon region of southwestern France. It's mostly used there to make sweet wines here. It's found a home in Virginia because of the small berries. It's got thick skins, loose clusters. So it performs reasonably well in Virginia's hot, humid climate.
That sounds like an ex of mine, small berries
and
loose clusters.
Yeah. Right. And so air gets into the clusters. So, Patrick, Petit Manseng is something that is really thriving. And I've seen just over 10 years since I've been judging the competition, how that has taken on higher scores. But also, in my opinion, Cabernet Franc is something that it's still, I love the Cabernet Francs I've tasted, but boy, as a group, they've improved. But really, red Bordeaux style blend. So that's red blends of Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot continue to improve. And I just think those grapes, those wines, Petit Verdot, varietal Petit Verdot. I mean, if you're looking for, listeners want a big, bold red to go with a steak on the grill, it's hard to beat, a Petit Verdot. So those are the things that I've seen, coming up are of course, Tannat. That's really showing a lot of promise. So overall, wines as a whole, Patrick, the quality has improved across the board, but especially with red blends, Cabernet Franc, and Petit Manseng, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, those are some real winners too. I mean, there's always going to be a home for the Viogniers and the and some of the favorite varietals like that. But yeah, those are such exciting varietals, and especially right now. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Well, so now, what are one or two surprises from the competition? What's something that you just thought, well, what about that?
So one thing that surprised me was the sweet wines. The sweet wines, of course, in this year, the 2021 Virginia Governor's Cup, Barbersville's Pacito, the 2015 Pacito, which that's a dessert wine. It's made in an ancient winemaking method from Italy called a passamento. And it means basically the grapes are partially dried, so the grapes are picked early to retain acidity, but the grape bunches are placed on racks, in this case at Barbersville, and allowed to air dry in a barn that they have there on the property with big fans pumping in air. And the grapes are allowed to partially dry up to 120 days, and it really concentrates the aromatics and the flavors. And the dessert wines we tasted this year were absolutely spectacular. I mean, just goodness gracious, some of these dessert wines, I know, they may not be super popular with wine consumers because they don't really drink a lot of them. But my goodness, if you want to be surprised about wine, you get a really well-made dessert wine like Barbersville Pacito. And also at Early Mountain Vineyards, the vineyard manager there, Maya Hood White, she has a side project, her own project called RAH. Her dessert wine also made in a similar style. Was in the Virginia governor's case this year. It was just so delicious. So when you ask what surprises me, what surprised me this year was, one, the dessert wines, and two, the diversity of wines that garnered gold medals this year. So, I mean, there was in past years, it's been heavily red Bordeaux style blends. This year, it was all over the place, which showcases, just how far Virginia wine has come in terms of quality. Because, like every year, the final round of the Governor's Cup is judged by 12 judges who have judged competitions before, that know wine, know how to, evaluate a wine professionally. And so these are the wines, from across 20 different grape varieties, across every region, across multiple vintages, won gold medals this year. So the diversity of viticulture in Virginia was really the winner this year, as well as a Petit Manseng. And I have to say, just as a side note, is mead. This year, Silverhand Meadery in Williamsburg, they won 6 gold medals this year. And I will say, up to this point, Patrick, I've not known a lot about mead. I've not, consumed a lot of mead, but boy, those were really fantastic.
Yes. Well, we're going to list, or have it linked to all of the winners, including the Governor's Cup case. But tell us who the winner of the Governor's Cup was.
Okay, so Barbersville Vineyards, you're familiar with Luca Pasquina and his team there, yes. With Fernando Franco, Daniele Tesoro. So Fernando is the longtime vineyard manager there. Daniele Tesoro, who is Luca's assistant or associate winemaker. Luca is the lead winemaker and general manager at Barbersville. And Barbersville, of course, is located in the town of Barbersville, about 25 minutes northwest of Charlottesville. Their dessert wine, the 2015 Pacito, won the Governor's Cup this year. So this is the 5th time that Barbersville has won the competition since it started almost 40 years ago, since the competition first started in 1982. And this is the 4th time that a wine made by Luca Pasquina actually won the competition. So both of those are records. One, Barbersville holds the records for the most Virginia Governor's Cup, and Luca Pasquina holds the record for the most Governor's Cup for a wine that he made. And that's a big deal. But also, I should note that this year, the 2021 competition was the first year that there was a cider category, and in that cider category, the winner out of 27 different ciders from around the state was a cider from Lost Boy Cider, which is based in Alexandria. They have their production facility in Winchester. It's called Comeback Kid, so it's a blend of apples from the Shenandoah Valley, and that was exciting to see a new category.
No, I agree, and cider is one of those things too that people, I think, are finally starting to get it, and appreciate it for the craft that it is, So that's awesome.
Yeah, a really broad range of exciting wines this year.
That is amazing. Well, what's also amazing is something that you've got going on tomorrow, Saturday, March the 27th, Open Virginia Wine Day. Tell us about that and how folks can participate.
Yeah, thank you. So Open That Bottle of Virginia Wine Day. It was started, 20 years ago by Dorothy Gatier and John Brecher. And for those, wine enthusiasts, you remember Dorothy and John. They wrote the very highly acclaimed wine column in the Wall Street Journal. It was called Tastings.
Yep.
They wrote that column from 1998 to 2010. And in 2000, so 21 years ago, they created something called Open That Bottle Night. And really it was intended to be a global celebration of friends, of family memories during and just a time for all of us to get together and open that special bottle of wine or try something new. And by the way, I think Dorothy and John, they opened a lot of eyes. They educated a lot of people through their writings, and they still write today for an online publication called Grape Collective. So I borrowed this concept from them and focused it on Virginia last year. Of course, it was right at the beginning of the lockdown. I was, talking to a number of winemakers, winery owners, and they were expressing some very deep concerns about, financial solvency if they had to stay closed for very long. And, we started talking about, hey, how can we bring more attention to the local wine industry? And so that's when I came up with Open That Bottle of Virginia Wine Day. So we had the first one last year, and the second one, as you said, is tomorrow, Saturday, March 27th, and it's simple. Pick up a bottle of wine. You can go to a number of local stores here in the Hampton Roads area. Open that bottle of wine, share it with somebody, try something new, or if you've been holding on to that old bottle for a while, pull it out of the cellar or pull it off the wine rack, open it up, and take a picture of it, post it online, and use the hashtag OpenVAWine, and just post it online. It's the way, Patrick, just to bring attention to the Virginia wine industry, but also on Saturday evening at 5 p.m., I'm moderating or hosting a virtual online discussion through Zoom with Bettina Ring, who is the Secretary of Agriculture and Forestry. Jay Yeoman, the Master of Wine and Administrator of the Virginia Governor's Cup, is going to join me, as well as a couple of winemakers. Gosh, I hope everyone will join us. They go to drinkwhatyouLike.com. They can register for the Zoom for the Zoom thing. It'll start at 5, it'll end at 5:45. It's just a way to bring attention to this industry.
And I'm going to be happy to be joining you as well. So, yes.
Awesome.
Yes, indeed.
Can't wait.
Yes, that'll be a lot of fun. Well, so much good information here. And, folks, for more information on Frank Morgan's Drink What You Like blog, visit drinkwhatyouLike.com. That's drinkwhatyouLike.com. Thank you so much, Frank. I hope you have a great weekend. It sounds like a lot of fun planned for tomorrow's, but have a great wine-filled weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Patrick. Very much appreciate it. Cheers, my friend.
All right, cheers. Bye-bye. All right, welcome back to the Virginia Eats and Drinks Show. I was counting on some music, little thing there. But, no, that's okay. It's too late now. You jam my frequency. There we go. Do that wine, yeah. All right, there we go. You can turn it off now. Yeah. So what you got planned this weekend?
Man, this and that, you put me on the spot there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Little this and that. It's springtime projects, so maybe cut the grass. We got all these. I got all these baby animals to tend to. So
yes, all those cute little goats.
Yeah, goats. We got a new puppy too. So it's
that's right.
There's not much sleep happening. It's that sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Teething puppies. Who's into teething puppies? I've had 3 of them, that I can remember. No, it's not pleasant. I'm not into that at all. I'll trade you.
I've only had one puppy. But that was many years ago. The last, of course, right now I have Miss Pico de Gallo, my Chihuahua. She turned 12 on March the 1st. But nice. I got her from a shelter, the Norfolk Animal Shelter, and she was already 6. And the dog before, he lived to be 17 years old, Tamale Perez-Hylton, nice. Also a Chihuahua. And we got him when he was about 5. And also from an animal shelter in Virginia Beach. So I've only had an experience once, but that was so many years ago. I can't say that I remember very much. I remember more the house training, more than anything. Oh. But he was. I remember his name was Pepe. I do remember Pepe being very good. We put the paper down, and they had like some kind of hormone spray that you sprayed the newspapers, and you watched him and picked him and took him out. But I remember him not being terribly difficult, but I wouldn't necessarily want to train a puppy again.
No.
But I also want to support when I can, an animal shelter or something too. But of course, my reason for getting a dog was different. You have a small farm, so I know you're different. Your reason was different in getting a dog too.
Yeah. He's gonna be a working dog, so
yes,
that sort of thing. But
yes,
but grilling out and whatnot, we might do that this weekend. That's always a little more fun when you got a dog around.
Yes,
so I just had to tie the 2 in if people were wondering. Virginia Eats and Drinks, and
yeah. Well,
other tie-ins, but we'll leave that for another day for another $1.
Yes. We grilled out this afternoon.
Yeah. Nice.
Just some burgers, but it was very, very good.
That is good.
All right, folks. Well, thank you to our platinum sponsors. So we simply could not do this show without you. Thank you, too, to all of our special guests this evening and all that you have brought to our table. If you want more Eats and Drinks, be sure to get information from tonight's show and a whole lot more on our Facebook group. And go to facebook.com/group/Virginia Eats and Drinks. Again, go to facebook.com/group/Virginia Eats and Drinks. Dare I say, his content so good,
you'll drool all over your radio.
Yeah, all over that knob there, I'll tell you what. And so now, Damien, we're going to end for some food for thoughts. We've been talking about wine, and talking about dogs. So what kind of therapy dog can be trained to bring you a glass of red wine?
Well, what kind of therapy dog can you train to bring you a glass of wine?
A Bordeaux Collie. Thanks for listening, and keep it tasty, Virginia.
I just can't cut loose without my juice. Oh. Got to have my hot Lucy when I go out walking sometimes. One day crossing the avenue, a big car knocked me stretched out, tying up traffic, and crowds came for blocks around. While the police were searching my pocket.
The preceding program was sponsored and paid for by Virginia Eats and Drinks, who's solely responsible for its content.